A solid way to close out college football for 2016-2017 season. Clemson, I want to say, partly did the impossible. Alabama's defense was the #1 ranked defense in the country, and going into the match, arguably one of the 3 greatest college football defenses in the history of college football.
Oh,
They, up until that point in that championship game, Alabama's defense had allowed 21 total second-half points all season long, and Kalishaw on Around the Horn said this yesterday as one of the most remarkable stats I've ever heard in my life. Alabama, if they had not scored an offensive touchdown all season long, their defense was so good that they would still be 6-8. Are you kidding? That means they didn't have to play an offense all year long, and they still would find a bowl game because it's college football. And if you win 3 games, you get to play in the Albright Crate and Barrel
All-State
Bowl
game.
Francis, a very exciting game from pretty much the third quarter on.
Yeah, I think the last 2 college football games that I have feasted my eyes
What
on
was the
have
one
been
before that?
phenomenal. USC, Rose Bowl.
Rose Bowl.
Fantastic game.
Oh,
Both of them.
you're right. A great game, but meaningless.
No,
Sorry,
it's
but go
still,
on.
it's just a bowl.
I know,
They just want to pack the stadium and make
know,
more
I
money.
know,
I get
I
it. This was surprising. I mean, back-to-back NCAA finals where it was the same teams playing against each other. I think Clemson were out for revenge. So it's good to see, in their point of view, justice be done after last season from what they felt they should have went on and won. Alabama were a phenomenal team throughout. I honestly thought we could have given them the NCAA trophy 3 or 4 weeks into the college season. I thought their defense was so untouchable at times.
It's fast.
But Deshaun Watson is a phenomenal quarterback. And he is someone that is highly tipped. But I do want to go off on a tangent really quick to make a quick point. He's probably played his way into maybe being the first pick, right? And I don't think, maybe, well, there's a lot of people that believe. Well, I think there's a lot of people that think that the Cleveland Browns are looking at him as a first pick for them. And I think that would be a catastrophic pick for them, for both Deshaun Watson's career and for the Cleveland Browns. I think they need some sort of defensive stability. I think you could get maybe Myles Garrett, who's another player that's been touted to be a better choice for them. I just think that in the history of the Cleveland Browns, we know that quarterbacks in the Browns aren't always the best fit. So whilst it's been touted that they would look at him as someone they would like to choose first, I don't think it would be the best option. But he is a very, very talented quarterback. But you have your concerns as to his transition to the NFL?
Look, there's something that I'll give Deshaun Watson a lot of respect for his demeanor and his professionalism, on and off the field. For one, I think I don't have it written down in front of me, but his quotes in the post-game press conference and when he was talking to Scott Van Pelt about how he puts his head down and gets his job done, it's very similar to Marcus Mariota when he was at Oregon. And when they say, like, they talk about the Heisman Trophy winner every year, and they talk about how, you know, it goes to the best statistical player of the year, and it turns out a lot of the time the Heisman Trophy winners don't necessarily turn into great NFL players. For the most part, they don't, save for a handful that do turn into some of the best. But in the Heisman case, like it says right on the trophy, it's like for excellence and professionalism and maturity and leadership on campus. That's why I thought it was so ironic that Jameis Winston wins it, because they claim one thing and then it turns out to be another. Winston looks like he's going to be the better quarterback than Marcus Mariota. I don't want to undersell Deshaun Watson. I don't think he's a first overall pick. I don't think he's a top 15 overall pick. I think I think there's better quarterbacks suited for the NFL. Mitch Trubisky for North Carolina. And people go, "Oh, look at North Carolina." It's the college to professional jump is an insane jump in terms of speed, athleticism, and skill set. And there's a reason that there's only like 12 good starting quarterbacks in the NFL. So you're talking about the best of the best. I don't want to discredit Deshaun Watson to say that he can't become a good NFL quarterback, but I don't see him as somebody that just – I think it's more likely he turns out to be Vince Young than it is that he turns out to be Russell Wilson, for example.
Do you think that
By the way, he played an unbelievable game and in one of the best college football quarterbacks that we've seen, and to do that against Alabama, and he did the same thing. He put up 40 points last year against Alabama. Yeah. It's not like he doesn't have the skill set to score on a top-ranked defense. But, again, there's just a lot of hype going into the draft, and this will only skyrocket his draft stock.
Well, that's what I was thinking. My next question was all those things that transition, right? You need to obviously be athletic.
Of course.
These are things that can be worked on more. So we talked about this not long ago when it came to both the NBA draft and the NFL. There's certain things you look at for a draft pick as for every player that's coming in. More often than not, they're not ready-made fits. You're going to have to work on those things that you have to work on.
The Browns are not the organization that you want to show.
Yeah, exactly.
Although he said wherever he goes, he's excited and he's going to put his head down and he's going to get the job done.
He feels privileged, I think,
which
to
is
be
great.
in a position. The only thing that I would say that transitions more so with him than a lot of other quarterbacks that I've seen in college football this year is his ability to do it on the biggest stage, which is sometimes stage fright takes over from these players that move into the NFL because you're playing against guys that are bigger, stronger, faster, a lot more pressure. Your life depends. You're literally your job.
You say that, and then you look back at the Alabama defensive line, and you're like, I don't know if anybody can get bigger, stronger, or faster. I would hope that he would fall to a middle of the road team who can use either a quarterback, next year, or at least be in the conversation for one. Because if he gets put into an organization that's, let's say, hovering around the 15th pick compared to a Browns or a Jaguars in the top of the draft, it's not going to be better for his career. No. So I'd rather want him to fall and maybe fall under into a backup role, maybe his first a couple of years. Who knows? You can't predict the future. Although he did. Deshaun Watson tweeted this out. Number 1, back in 2012. If I get a chance to play a national championship game, I'm going to go ham.
I love when you look back at these retweets now and you just know that this has been circulated.
Well, he did go ham.
He did
go ham. We have some more fun ones, though. So Kirk Cousins was commenting on Alabama running back Bo Scarborough, who ripped off a couple of extremely talented runs. Let's take a look at element number two, because it has to do with Alabama recruitment. Kirk Cousins, as he tweets out, on the left, Bo Scarborough in 10th grade. On the right, me in 11th grade. Now I know why Alabama never called. That's a 10th grader. That's a man, Basil.
That's not. That's a guy, he's ready, he's in a transition, he's in a combine, and he's ready to go to the NFL. There's no way, you don't get that sort of...
Do you know when you're making your video game character loadout in like a first-person shooter, and you're like, that's what you build him like?
If you're building a FIFA player, that guy's got 100 in all attributes right there, especially biceps.
Oh, so he's Boateng.
He's huge.
And lastly, and this is just interesting for Deshaun Watson, Warwick Dunn, ex-Buccaneers running back, running back in the NFL, had a charity where he would go around and he would give, or was part of the organization that they would build homes for some underprivileged families. And believe it or not, years ago, Deshaun Watson's family was one of those, and there's a tweet that went out that started to go viral. This is element number 3. Warwick Dunn giving the Watson family the keys to the house in 2006. Deshaun Watson in the black sweatshirt on the right below Warwick Dunn himself. It's just a nice story, and again, this is an easy guy to root for, but I say the same thing. This is why I say the Vince Young comparison. Vince Young was a very easy guy to root for. He was a winner. He played in the biggest moments. He led Texas in the most comparable game to Alabama losing to Clemson was USC coming just short of their 3rd straight title to Texas. It was a very similar finish. It was very similar in so many ways. However, again, people are going to look at this go, and the hype right now is so beyond out of control for Deshaun Watson, and we're going to see what's going to happen in the draft. I hope he doesn't go 1, 2, or 3. I hope he slides, because I think it's going to be better for his career.
Yeah, and one thing that you could say about someone like Deshaun Watson is I don't think, as much as we all root for someone like this to transition from college sports into the NFL and be able to play at that same level and hit those accolades, when you look at this guy and you listen to him talk, he is just happy to be given this opportunity. You saw the tweet earlier, he wanted to play in a national championship game. That's probably the highlight of his life so far, and he's going to be happy with that. I'm not saying he's going to settle, but I'm saying that he is confident in doing whatever I think the task is that is given to him. He's one of the rare people out there that is open and vocal about how privileged he is in an opportunity like this. Like, you get a lot of people out there, we're going to talk about it in the next clip, I believe, where athletes that get into these prestigious positions and they just take it for granted. And they don't come across as humble. This man comes across humble.
He's a humble man.
And he seems like he will be happy with and work hard whatever the opportunity is that comes forward to him. And that's why I think we're rooting for him. And unfortunately, that's why sometimes that isn't the best attitude to transition across, because sometimes you need to be a killer and you need to constantly be looking to get one step ahead. And those are unfortunately people that
it comes with the territory. You cannot avoid spotlight and be that prominent of an athlete, and it's necessarily not some players' jobs to have a platform and speak out on behalf of that platform, but it's really not that difficult to keep a low profile.
Yeah.
Even in today's day and age, there's players who do it remarkably well, and there's some who don't handle it nearly as well as others. A couple other notes. O.J. Howard, tight end for Alabama, the same play as last year's championship game, faked the block, what looked like a screen pass, just darted up the field, and was wide open on and it's just like you look at that, and that's when I thought the game could have been over, because it was 24-14, and when you're talking about the best defense in college football and 2 minutes and 53 seconds left in the third quarter, it was hard to believe that Clemson was going to mount a comeback. What was so remarkable, I think, about Deshaun Watson's second half was the fact that not only did they come back to score and retake the lead 28-24, Alabama responded with one of their best offensive drives all season with Jalen Hurts, who's a freshman quarterback. And a lot of the keys to victory for this college football game was, can Jalen Hurts, the freshman quarterback, put the team on his back on the offensive end? Yeah, he did. He did his part. He scored 31 points. Like, that's more than Alabama's ever needed all season long to win their football games because of their defense. And the one way you can beat Alabama, the same way you can beat any top-ranked defense, make them run 89 total plays.
Yeah.
It was the most Alabama had to play on the defensive end of the ball all season long. Yes, exhaustion becomes a major problem. Being on the field that long becomes a problem. No matter how good you are, you get tired.
Fatigue, it will take the most monumental of men and put them into just little guys, little boy men.
Yeah, we'll leave it there. Comment below, like, favorite, and subscribe. Couple things from this. Where do you rank it in terms of best college football games? It was better than the Rose Bowl, and I will say this time and time again. As long as the college football playoffs exist, bowl games mean nothing. Enjoy them. Enjoy companies exploiting all of these players for money, and enjoy the occasional game you get between Penn State and USC. That, of course, was a great football game. If only it had some meaning. Comment below, like, favorite, and subscribe. J.R. Jackson probably loved it because he's a USC fan. At Francis_Maxwell on Twitter. At Jason Rubin 91 on Twitter also. We'll see you next time.